All right. Like I said, different, boring background. Okay, guys, so it has been a little bit longer than I would have liked since the last video here. I got a legit excuse. I've moved into this new place here, and I did not have internet or cable until yesterday. So, yeah, so I was just living off of LTE or whatever for almost a week. So, with that said, we've got a couple of award shows that are coming up here this weekend. I'm going to have a couple different videos here, so I'm going to shoot them back to back here. First one we're going to talk about is the Critics' Choice, and also we're going to quickly go over, we'll probably start with this, but we'll go over what's happened at the past guilds, and okay, does this mean anything with these winners and stuff like that. And then the next video is going to be BAFTA predictions. We'll look at the DGA really quick, even though that's, I could probably just do that one now, and it's probably done, but that's okay. And kind of a preview, I guess, of the other, like PGA and WGA as well. Obviously, we'll have a little bit more time with that one after BAFTA is over and after Critics' Choice are over. That's also going to be Selection Sunday for March Madness. So, if I've got my dates right, at least, because that's on a Sunday, right? The 13th? Yeah. So, I'm going to be busy with that as well that day. So, I'm going to be all over the place that day. So, yeah, I guess really quick, let's start with the guild winners here previously, and we'll look into Indie Spirits too, because Indie Spirits also handed out their prizes as well. Okay, so I believe chronologically the first one here was Ace Eddie, and here's the thing with Ace Eddie, you have to kind of take some of their winners some years with a grain of salt. I'm gonna just to prove this point, I'm gonna bring up the previous winners here. Because unless it's a very, very obvious pick, especially in the dramatic category, they just don't carry over. It's those upset winners here usually do not carry over. So this year, the upset winner was King Richard, which I had down in 4th place. I thought Belfast, Power of the Dog, and Dune were really going to duke this out, especially between Power of the Dog and Dune. I mean, Dune is kind of I don't say obvious the front runner, but it's it feels like, it's in a Gravity sort of situation where it's like, hey, it can, do really well in the tech categories and pretty much do a mini sweep of those. It might lose maybe 1, maybe 2 in there where it is actually nominated. Obviously, Best Original Song is the only place in the text where it is not nominated. But it generally looks like it could almost, because it'll have, of its 10 nominations, I think 9 of them are, or 8 of them, I should say, because it's in for Screenplay too. 8 of them are in those tech categories, if memory serves, that is. Again, unless I'm forgetting one, because obviously it's not in for Director, as we've mentioned several times. Let me see here, because I'm trying to think what else. Let me see. Well, if I can find it on the list here. Yeah, it should be score, costume, sound, film editing, makeup, cinematography, production design, visual effects. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, so with this one, King Richard is our winner here, and I was like, wow, it was kind of one that I was betting on early to get into film editing, but I really did not think like an Ace Eddie win was going to happen for it. So let's take a look here. Just the last 2 years, Trial of Chicago 7 won this last year over Sound of Metal. Sound of Metal went on to win at the Oscars. Parasite won here in 2019. Ford v. Ferrari went on to win. Then there were 2 years in a row they actually did match up. Dunkirk and Bohemian Rhapsody both repeated at the Oscars. Arrival was incorrect. I think Hacksaw Ridge won that one, if I remember right. Mad Max Fury Road, that was a repeat winner. Boyhood, Captain Phillips, those 2 were incorrect. We had Whiplash and Gravity win those 2 years. Otherwise, we'll go a couple more here. Argo, that one was correct. Descendants, that lost to Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And The Social Network, that was a winner as well. So it's a pretty spotty history here. So, in that case, I think if King Richard was going to win Best Picture and something like editing could go along for the ride, if you could say editing, Actor and Picture, which that's a weird weird threesome. I don't think we've ever had that for Best Picture winner. But still, I think if that was going to be the case, I think King Richard would have been our surprise winner at SAG a few weeks ago. I think we would have seen a little bit more of an obvious uptick there. I think it could have, because I don't know who's all putting it ahead in like original screenplay either, because screenplay is usually a really good indicator of who's going to win Best Picture as well. This year might be an exception though. Well, we'll see about Power of the Dog, but we'll see. Yeah, forgot. I was thinking the original category, but no, Power of the Dog's over and adapted. And I don't want to say it has that category to itself because it's like you might regret that later on. But yeah, let's see. Otherwise, Tick Tick Boom was a little bit of an upset winner there in the comedy category. I had Don't Look Up because that one was nominated, and true, Tick Tick Boom was nominated as well at the Oscars. But I don't know. Yeah, so I just now I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I wasn't really thinking, Don't Look Up had a really secure spot somewhere where it can win. But I was like, well, maybe in a weird way that editing category could go that way. But yeah, especially if it can't win here when only one of its competitors is also nominated at the Oscars and that one won over it. Yeah, then I think that one's probably not going to win. Okay, so yeah, so I guess for right now, I guess I can say Dune is still my choice right now for the editing award. And that's really, again, because I think it's going to be like in that Mad Max type and Gravity type mode there where it can win quite a few of those tech categories. Okay, we also had Art Directors Guild. That one, for the categories there, you have like Period, which went to Nightmare Alley, which was really not too big a surprise. Fantasy was Dune. Yeah, that one was almost had that category to itself. Contemporary, I again went with Don't Look Up here because it did okay at the guilds, across the board there. But this one went to No Time to Die. So, yeah, we'll get to the production design category at the Oscars and here at Critics' Choice as well. But I like Nightmare Alley in that category. I don't know. We'll see. Again, that one almost feels like a very obvious one that would carry over, with for Dune. But I don't know. I just have a weird feeling about that one. Okay, then we had the Indie Spirits. And really, I think there's really only one or two chances here that some of these categories can carry over as far as repeat winners and stuff. And really, of those, I mean, obviously the biggest one is probably Troy Kotsur, who now looks... Actually, I mean, not running away with it by any means, but certainly looks like he is really flipping that tide as far as the supporting actor race. So, anyways, let's recap though. Lost Daughter did very, very well here, taking home 3 prizes there. Zola had a couple. Passing had a couple. Let me see here. I think did Red Rocket have just the one? I think, yeah. Otherwise. Pig won, 7 Days won one category each, Drive My Car won for international feature, Summer of Soul won for documentary. So, yeah, really quick. So Lost Daughter had picture, director, and screenplay. Simon Rex was your winner for Best Actor, but again, he was really the only one that looked kind of good there. Lead actress, that went to Taylor Page for Zola. Then, yeah, we mentioned Troy for supporting actor. Ruth Negga won for supporting actress, even though she does have a fellow nominee there, Jessie Buckley, who got in at the Oscars, and Ruth Negga did not. And even though Lost Daughter was kind of in sweep mode, I don't know. It's weird because I looked at these and I'm like, I actually did pretty well on these. I had picture, director, actor, actress, supporting actress, screenplay right. I had international feature, cinematography, documentary, and editing all right. So the only ones I missed were those first categories, first feature and first screenplay. And what's weird is I predicted these like the day after the nominations came out. I don't know. I kind of... Sometimes Indie Spirit kind of gets lost in the shuffle there. But in this case, though, yeah, I think really Troy looks like a good shot to repeat. We'll see about the documentary category. But Summer of Soul, I think, has a good shot. Drive My Car seems like it's going to run that category going forward for international films. So, yeah, I really don't see that one losing too much going forward. But, yeah, still really good showing, though, for Lost Daughter. even though again I'm really like I don't know where, if there's so much love for the film at the Oscars, there isn't really an obvious place to put it because Best Actress is really competitive, and it's not just because Jessica Chastain seems to have taken the lead now after the SAG win, but it's like, okay, on top of it, you've got Nicole Kidman also in that category, who we know is going to get some votes. And Olivia Colman is a winner here just from a few years ago. Let's see, who else? I was going to say, I think Kristen Stewart can still get some votes too for Best Actress. So it's not a super obvious place there. Jessie Buckley, I don't think can topple. Geez, wow, I'm out of it. I haven't done a video here. Ariana DeBose, wow. Yeah, I don't think anybody's topping Ariana right now for that one. And then screenplay, it's like, okay, even though Power of the Dog looks very good in director, especially, so Jane Campion can win there. I just don't know if it has enough in it for screenplay. I think I'm going to look again here. WGA, they have Lost Daughter is there, isn't it? Because Jane Campion is not a member of the Guild. So, whoops, that's the wrong one. She's not nominated there. Let's see here. And, it wasn't eligible either. Yeah. So that one, it seems like you're going to come down to CODA in the adapted screenplay category there, and either Licorice Pizza or maybe King Richard in the original screenplay category. So I was going to say WGA might be a little starting place for Lost Daughter, but I was like, well, I couldn't remember if that was eligible or not. I don't think it was. Anyway, so let's see, where else? Where were we? Indie Spirits, yeah. So, yeah, even though Lost Daughter, I think, did really well here and stuff, again, like it did at Gotham as well, I just don't think there's a very obvious place where that love can go and where it can totally, take a category. I just think there's so much respect for it that's split among those different fields there. I just don't see a place for it to win. Let's see, we also had the Visual Effects Guild, and we had effects-driven film go to Dune. Again, absolutely no surprise. And then we had supporting effects. I had Nightmare Alley here because it was the only one that was a Best Picture nominee, and they went with Last Night in Soho. So it's a little, obviously Nightmare Alley's not in the effects category at the Oscars, but still, just for its overall support, if you're like me and you're thinking it could take production design, that's not the strongest, support for it or whatever, but still, Dune winning there, that was absolutely no surprise. Okay, so I think that only leaves the Costume Designers Guild. Yeah, and I believe this was last night. And somehow, I didn't look at it, I guess, in time, but I still had House of Gucci winning for period costumes. But it's like, obviously that's Cruella. Yeah, because Cruella is just going to sweep the whole rest of the season, I think. Dune won for film fantasy costumes, so that's no surprise at all. And contemporary, I went with Coming to America. And I think, it looks like it was the favorite when I picked it there back in January. I think that's, again, not long after the nominations were announced. But, that one won. And that did very well, as we mentioned the other night, at the Makeup Guild as well. So, again, I don't really see that one as a threat in the makeup category because I think Tammy Faye, Eyes of Tammy Faye, is really primed to kind of be like Darkest Hour and Iron Lady and a few of those other ones. You have to go back a little ways further. For those actor and makeup winners, kind of deal. Anyways, so so I don't really see that one losing way too much momentum there right now. Okay, let's go ahead then, and now we got all that wrapped up. Let's get into the Critics' Choice prediction for the winners here, and. I think overall, some of these categories feel like they're just a little too easy. So I think there's, especially when we get to some of these tech categories with Critics' Choice, sometimes they don't carry over. Once in a while, they'll get like a screenplay or something that won't carry over as well. Let's see here. I'm going to look up some of the winners here, like last year. I want to look up last year's and see who carried over and who did not. That's this year. Okay, we'll start with just the tech categories here. So Tenet won, visual effects, I believe that carried over. Hair and makeup was Ma Rainey's. Speak Now won for song, that did not carry over. Soul won for score, that did. Production design, Mank, that carried over. Sound of Metal tied for editing with Chicago 7. So yeah, Sound of Metal, that's technically a win. Costume design was Ma Rainey's, that carried over. Cinematography did not. That was Nomadland. And I think, both, or no, adapted was wrong last year because they went with Nomadland, but original was correct with Promising Young Woman. So that's just last year. Let's see, I want to say a couple years ago there were a couple other ones that were not correct here. I'm going to double check that now. Okay, Avengers Endgame beat 1917 for effects, so that one was incorrect. Let's see here. Ruthie Carter won for Dolomite Is My Name for costume design. That one ended up going to Little Women. Editing went to 1917, which wasn't even nominated. They went with Ford v Ferrari at the Oscars. And I think, adapted screenplay. But, well, actually, both the screenplay categories were incorrect. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood won for original screenplay, and Little Women won for adapted. And instead it was, respectively, it was Parasite and then, Jojo Rabbit. Yeah, I looked at it, I'm like, wait, that didn't win. But it was Jojo Rabbit. Anyways, but, I guess one more year here just to see what carries over, what does not. Let's see, this is 2018. Score went to First Man, which was not nominated that year. Black Panther ended up winning. Let's see here. Visual effects was Black Panther, but that one did win, didn't it? No, First Man. First Man won at the Oscars, yep. Okay, costume design was correct. Editing was incorrect. First Man was not nominated. They went with, Rhapsody, which was not nominated at Critics' Choice. Production design was correct. Cinematography was correct with Roma. Adapted screenplay, they went with Beale Street over Black Klansman. And original screenplay, this was the one I was especially going to look to. Green Book did not win here; it went to First Reformed, and this was what led me astray for that year, but amongst other things that year. So just keep in mind, some of these categories are, here at Critics' Choice, they might not carry over. So take some of these wins, I think, with a grain of salt. Okay, so we're going to start with some of the tech categories here, and then we'll work our way up. And again, there's a couple categories here and there, like Best Action Film, Comedy Film, stuff like that. If they are nominated and stuff, I just ignore those because they have no significance whatsoever. Okay, so with the visual effects category, Dune is my pick here. It's... If anything happens, like Dune all of a sudden starts like nosediving in this race, even though we're pretty late into the race now, visual effects is like a gimme. I just don't see anybody winning over Dune for visual effects. Okay, let's go to, let's see, we can do sound. They don't have a sound category, that's right. Sorry. Skip sound, they don't have it. Makeup and hairstyling, that one can be next year. Eyes of Tammy Faye, again, I just think that's the winner here. I think Dune is a close second. Again, Dune, I think, could go on a mini sweep here and pick up quite a few of these tech categories. I think it will for several of the other ones here. But Tammy Faye, I think, is going to win here. But again, I would look out for Dune. For the music category, song, I'm going with an upset here. I'm going with the Beyonce song, Be Alive from King Richard. No Time to Die is seems like an obvious pick at this point, but I don't know. I think it's kind of for the category, not just here, but at the Oscars as well. I think there's a lot of different feelings here for what can win, and I think there's a lot of passion amongst many of the nominees here. You've got a Disney one in there with Dos Orugatas, I can't even pronounce it, Dos Orugatas. And plus, I still think, even though it was kind of a bigger deal here a few months ago, the Bruno song or whatever, we don't talk about Bruno, whatever, I still think there's enough sympathy for the fact that they didn't even submit that one, that some people are like, you know what, I like that movie enough, or I like the music in that movie enough, I'm just going to vote for that one so that, kind of honorarily the Bruno song can win or whatever. So I don't know if that's enough, obviously, to carry the day, but definitely I think that one has some passion there. No Time to Die, Bond songs, even though historically have not done very well here in the song category, the last two have won in a row, so which is very, obviously, again, very unprecedented for Bond here. But, I just think, I don't know. King Richard is the only one of these, other than Don't Look Up in this category, that has a picture nomination. I just think they like that one enough. So I'm going to go with Beyonce in the upset there. The score category, I'm going Dune here. I think Power of the Dog feels like the one that can upset Dune, I think, going forward, potentially. But especially here at Critics' Choice, Spencer is nominated. That's another Johnny Greenwood one. So I think they're just going to go Dune. But yeah, and again, that could be part of the sweep factor, too. Let's see, in the design categories, production design, yeah, I'm sticking with Nightmare Alley here to upset. And I do think if it loses here, and I believe it is nominated at BAFTA as well, I think it has to win both for me to keep it. If it loses one, definitely if it loses both and they just go Dune, I'm like, okay, yeah, forget it. Yeah, the Nightmare Alley goes 0 for 4 at the Oscars. Is it 3 or 4? Costume design, this one, production design. Cinematography, yeah, it's not winning cinematography, so it would go 0 for 4 at the Oscars. I don't know, and it was just such a not out of nowhere, but it was kind of going down in my list of potential Best Picture nominees. I think it was like 12 or 13 on my list. The morning of the nominations, when it came through, I was like, I was surprised. I was like, I really didn't think it had enough steam in it to come back, especially when it was losing steam in like director, and none of the acting categories seemed like they were going to go. Screenplay felt like a real long shot. I'm like, yeah, I don't see it coming back for a picture. Oh, it did. It came back for a picture nomination. What do you know? So yeah, I just think the fact that it did that, I think it's going to win that production design category. Plus, it's one of the first things you think of with that movie is the way not only the carnival stuff works, but also the stuff in early 40s New York. All that stuff looks really good, I think. Dune, on the other hand, I think the first thing people think of with that in the tech categories is either the effects or the cinematography. The production design is great. And don't get me wrong, it really, completes the package and everything. And some of the settings there and stuff, like especially the Harkonnen, whatever stuff, all that stuff looks really good. Not only just on their home planet, which we only see for, a scene or two, but also when we get to some of their stuff when they're doing, like, the oil bath and stuff like that. My favorite character from that, the Stellan Skarsgård character, the Baron or whatever, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And by the way, I don't know, did I say Florence Pugh should be cast as the princess character or whatever? I don't know, it's weird, because I went back and I saw a few clips from the original film, just, again, to get a little bit of a taste of it, and I was like, oh, no, not for me. I'd have to be drunk to watch that one or something. I don't know, that might be fun. I don't know, maybe I'd just get bored. But anyways. Anyhow, but I looked at, just seeing a young Virginia Madsen, I'm like, that's totally going to be Florence Pugh or like one of those like blonde, kind of younger actresses like that. I'm like, totally, 100%. And yeah, and then it sounds like Florence Pugh's in final negotiations and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, she's great. Anyhow, but and I'm now that I have internet, I can finish, because I was on right before I moved here, I was on the 5th episode of Hawkeye, and that's around the time she comes in, and I'm like, oh yeah, right away she's a scene stealer in that. So I'm like, yeah, she's one of our best younger actresses right now. Anyways, but back to this though. I don't know, I just think, and again, it could very easily just be Dune here, and it just sweeps, again, like Mad Max, just sweeps through almost all these. Again, Gravity, very similar thing. But, I don't know, I just, it feels like there's one or two that are not going to go Dune's way at the end of it, so makeup is one of them, and I think production design's the other one. Otherwise, again, I think the rest of these techs that it's in, look out. I think it can really... Costume design is going to be tough, because, again, that's Cruella, but... and that would actually be our next one. Again, I think it's probably just Cruella for that one. Again, editing, I'm going to go with Dune here. I have Belfast in second, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think something more like Power of the Dog or potentially West Side Story could sneak in there. Even though West Side Story didn't get in at the Editors Guild, and it's not a nominee at the Oscars, I don't know. It could be just one of those weird winners here. Again, remember 1917 won here when it wasn't even nominated at the Oscars here a couple years ago. And that leaves cinematography, which, again, pretty easy. That's Dune. And I think, again, outside of visual effects, that's one of the biggest locks, I think, for Dune of the rest of the season is going to be that cinematography category. Okay, we have a couple of feature categories here. Foreign feature or international feature. I think they just have it shortened to foreign here, but I believe it's international when you actually get to the award show. Drive My Car. Easy. And then we have animated feature, probably Encanto. I think Encanto is going to stick around. Okay, and then we have the ensemble category. This is where I'm going off the beaten path a little bit. I'm going Belfast here. I don't know if it's right now it's in second place on the Gold Derby odds, but I don't know. I just look at this category and it's like I don't know. Some of their previous winners have been not random, but definitely have been ones that we weren't really counting on. Like a couple years ago, you had the Irishman win over. A lot of great ensembles: Bombshell, Knives Out, Little Women, Marriage Story, Hollywood, and Parasite. I mean, yeah, I don't know if I might look it up later to see what place I had that in, but it was definitely not first place. Let's see here. I can go back one or two more years for that ensemble category. The favorite one in 2018, which I guess isn't a gigantic surprise. 3 Billboards won in 2017, but that was on pretty much a good bet there for any ensemble prize like that. And then Moonlight won in 2016, even though that one did go on to lose at SAG. Okay, so the nominees here, by the way, I'll just recap. So we have Belfast, we have Power of the Dog, we have West Side Story, Harder They Fall, Don't Look Up, and Licorice Pizza. And I think I just haven't ranked in that order, by the way. So yeah, I think Power of the Dog could easily win here. West Side Story, I think, not that it matters, but the younger actress or young actor category, I have Rachel Zegler winning that. And plus, I think everybody has Ariana DeBose winning supporting actress. So I think as far as that goes for representation for that movie, I think that's one or two places where that can win. Obviously, only one of those is going to carry over to the Oscars, but still, that's I think that's good enough for them. And yeah, I know, since I have an internet, I haven't been able to watch West Side Story or Licorice Pizza yet. I know I'm slacking, but it's also right before March Madness, so I'm trying to watch games too and try to get as many bracket predictions correct as I can. So it's tough. It's tough right now. So I mean, I hate to say it, there's a chance I don't get to those films till after the Oscars are over. Sorry, it just didn't pan out this year. But anyways. If they're gonna go with like an Irishman type pick, something like Don't Look Up, I think could potentially come back to win here, even though I have it pretty far down there. And then Power of the Dog, I think, unless they do go supporting actor with Cody Smith-McPhee, this could be the kind of consolation prize because otherwise I don't think it's going to win any of the individual acting categories. So that one I'm a little more mixed on. But Belfast, I think. It feels like the critics liked it enough and stuff. I feel like they want to give it something. So I could be dead wrong about it, and it could be easily Power of the Dog. It could be West Side Story. It could be Don't Look Up. But I don't know. I'm going to go Belfast there. Okay, in the screenplay categories, I have Licorice Pizza here. Again, I think this is going to be close. I think Belfast, again, if it's one of those movies again at the Oscars, like a West Side Story this year, where it's like we have to give it something, I think Belfast could take screenplay still. Because remember, Belfast not only... it does have one or two nominations in those tech categories, as well as up in the acting categories and director and stuff. But it doesn't really... Again, it doesn't feel like it's going to win anything else. So I think it can take screenplay. And remember, Golden Globes did go with it for screenplay. And... I don't know. Sometimes they're correct. I mean, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood did not carry over. Last year, Chicago 7 did not carry over, but Green Book they had right. And I think, before that, then I think they were wrong 2 years in a row, weren't they? Because I think they went, if I remember right, they went 3 Billboards, and they went with La La Land, because that one swept everything that year. So, then the last time they would have been correct for screenplay would have been all the way back to Birdman. Boy. So I don't know. That's quite a stretch there. So maybe I don't know. Yeah, and the thing with Licorice Pizza too is it's only up for screenplay, director, and picture at the Oscars, and it did not carry over very well. Especially none of the acting categories. Couldn't get into editing or something like that. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, and we'll see. We'll see how it does at BAFTA too, but. I just don't get a sense that one is on the track of something like Promising Young Woman last year, where it's like that one consistently started winning those screenplay categories. Now, of course, that could all start this weekend if Licorice Pizza picks up both here at the Critics' Choice and at BAFTA, and then it's likely to win, I think, at WGA. Again, that's a place where Belfast is not nominated. So that could very easily start this weekend, but... I'm just not getting that sense right now of it totally, crossing everything. But right now I do have it to win here at Critics' Choice. I think just because it feels like one of those flavors that they are more akin to. And then in an adapted screenplay, Power of the Dog is my pick here. But I would, especially if, again, Cody Smith-McPhee wins, I would really look out for CODA here. And also The Lost Daughter, I think, is passionate too. But that's the thing. I think those two both have enough passion behind them. They cross each other out. And I think Power of the Dog is just going to carry it. So that's also my prediction, by the way, going forward with every adapted category, again, except for WGA, where Power of the Dog and Lost Daughter were both ineligible. So I think CODA, is just going to win that one outright. Okay, so the acting categories, I think I'm just going to go with the 4 that are the most popular here. So that's Ariana DeBose for West Side Story for supporting actress. Troy Kutzer, I'm putting him ahead right now for supporting actor. Obviously, Cody Smith-McPhee is going to be tough, but I don't know. It's like, again, Power of the Dog, even though it didn't have the ensemble category nomination there at SAG, it couldn't win any of those individual ones. Best Actress, I have Jessica Chastain, and Best Actor, I have Will Smith. So again, that is the 4 SAG winners there. So, I don't know, it does kind of feel like, not perfectly, but it almost does give a little bit of that sense we got from 2017 and from 2019 when all 4 of the acting categories just started to repeat. Obviously, we're not going to have that exactly this year because BAFTA has none of the Best Actress contenders. The Globes obviously went with Cody Smith-McPhee, and they went with Nicole Kidman over a couple of those other contenders there. So it's not going to be perfect, but at least going forward, again, aside from BAFTA, I think SAG, Critics' Choice, and Oscars almost could repeat for 4 for 4 there. So I guess we can go back to supporting actor, I guess, really quick, too. I think Power of the Dog, I think I really only have it winning for screenplay, director, and picture right now, which I think is fine. I think 3 wins is pretty good for that one. If it doesn't take score or editing or supporting actor, I think, 6 would probably be the tops for that one for wins. But again, I don't get the sense really that a lot of these award shows anymore like to do the your overall film winner carrying like tons and tons and tons of wins. Just really quickly, let's look at the last few years here. Just La La Land was the last one I had up. That one had 8. Obviously, that was a very deceptive year because obviously we saw the backlash happen. And that one, Critics' Choice, was like mid-December that year, too. That was back when they were having them very, very early. Very much a lot of backlash on that. And they, kind of later on put it forward more into the January season and stuff. Obviously, it was delayed this year because of Omicron. But, then we have Shape of Water. The next year had 4 wins, which I believe it was all 4 of those categories that repeated at the Oscars. We had, Roma took home 4 in 2018. 2019, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood had 4. And last year, Nomadland, I believe, also had 4. So, 3 sounds about right for that one, for Power of the Dog. Now, obviously, again, when we get into the tech categories, that's a place where Dune could win, what did I say, 5? Let's see if we can recap them really quick. Okay, it would be cinematography, editing, score, and visual effects. No, 4. Just 4, okay. Potentially 5 if it picks up production design. So, again, I think topping out at 5. And I don't really see that one winning anywhere else. Like, I don't see it winning for director or picture here or for screenplay. So, so I guess with this one too, so with Troy winning here for CODA, again, it almost does feel like CODA is one of those kind of passion picks as well. Kind of like almost in the spring of Jojo Rabbit here a few years ago, where it's like, okay, it feels like we have to give that one something. Again, kind of like Marriage Story 2 or West Side Story this year, Promising Young Woman last year. It feels like we got to give it something, so there's one prize we're going to go with. So I originally I didn't think so with CODA for supporting actor. I was thinking probably 0 for 3, but no. But it I don't know. I think with that SAG win and the speech and it winning Ensemble, which again some people I think are still going a little nuts with it now, saying it has a good shot to win Best Picture. I'm like, ooh, let's settle down there a little bit. Because again, we don't see wins that often where it's like, hey, let's take an acting win and just picture. It doesn't. That's never happened. Not that I can remember. And again, it really has to really come on strong in that adapted screenplay category. And I think it would have to, I'm going to triple check here. Is it nominated at BAFTA for screenplay? I believe so. Because obviously, again, it's going to have WGA. Very, very likely to win there, again, with Power of the Dog out of contention. But it's also got to win here at Critics' Choice, and I think start, again, a steamroll kind of thing, and also win at BAFTA as well this weekend. But I don't know. I'm not willing to go there yet, no. Again, I think Lost Daughter, I think, is nominated almost all those same places, again, with WGA being the exception. And I think, again, there's just enough passion for both films. They're going to knock each other out. So Troy, I think, can come ahead here, and I think he can win here. And if he does win here, especially if he also wins at BAFTA, and he's on these 3 wins in a row, yeah, I don't see him win. I don't see him losing then in the acting races. Because, again, we've seen Parasite win Best Picture without an acting win. Shape of Water also did that with 3 nominations, by the way, which this one, Power of the Dog, has 4. Let me think here. What else? Moonlight did have an acting win. Spotlight did not have an acting win. That had a couple nominations. So Birdman had 3 nominations, and that lost every acting category, but still won picture. So even though, again, there's that kind of old rule that you take an acting prize along with you, more lately it's been that screenplay category. Again, last year was an exception for Nomadland, and 2017 was an exception for Shape of Water. But again, we're looking more at that screenplay than we are an acting prize to help you solidify in Best Picture. So for Best Actress here at Critics' Choice, again, I think Jessica Chastain probably wins it here. I think they just kind of follow like sheep with SAG. And again, I think she had a pretty good speech there as well. I didn't get into the speeches last time. That was kind of my fault. But yeah, I get the sense. And seeing Troy up there was great, too. And you could tell he was very excited. And the cast, when they were up there, Marlee Matlin speaking for him and stuff, wow. Yeah, they were having a blast that night. Yeah. Okay, but yeah, Best Actor. Yeah, Will Smith, I think, wins here. Obviously, again, we're going to see if Benedict can win it at BAFTA, and we'll see if he can start something there. But, yeah, Will Smith, I think, does have Critics' Choice. And then Director, Jane Campion. And I think it's almost in that Chloe Zhao type range there, where it's like, okay, we can forget about anybody upsetting. And I think Power of the Dog is going to come ahead and win here for picture as well. I have Belfast in second, but I'm not extremely confident. I would say... probably because it was kind of sharing or maybe ever so slightly ahead of Power of the Dog for that frontrunner status, arguably since the beginning of the season, or especially after it won People's Choice Awards there at Toronto. I don't know. I just get the sense that there's still going to be some people that do like it. It's that kind of heart-tuggy, fuzzy movie. CODA has a lot of that too, sure. But I just think it's got a little bit of that prestige factor with the black and white look and everything there. So, yeah. I think it's second place. CODA, I think, is third. I don't know, because if it wins here, okay, then is it realistic that it can win PGA next? I don't know. I'm not sure. Because CODA, I'm going to look again. I don't think it had like any critics prizes this year for like any individual critics award giving it Best Picture. Plus, and I know it cuts against Power of the Dog as well, because they're both films from a streaming service, and wouldn't that be the ultimate irony to see it's not it's not Netflix that's the first streaming service to take a Best Picture win, it's Apple. And I believe this is, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the first time Apple has gotten a Best Picture nominee in, if I'm remembering correctly. I might be not remembering that right, but yeah, I mean, that would be pretty ironic. But anyways, let me go with boy, I'm trying to think. Okay, hold on. Let me do it this way. Okay, this is Seattle. Nope, they gave it just... Yeah, a few of these are like Best Young Actress or whatever, so yeah, or Breakthrough. Yeah, Amelia Jones has won a few of those. Hollywood Critics Association Film Awards did give it Picture, Supporting Actor, and Screenplay. Otherwise, no, that's it. So, I mean, a lot of critics groups, I think this year, they kind of, I mean, obviously the higher up ones, a lot of them were picking stuff like Drive My Car. And obviously, that kind of started a little momentum for that film. And then since then, obviously, then it became that dark horse kind of Best Director contender that we all latched onto eventually, I think. I was maybe a little late to that one, but still, I was like, looking, I'm like, yeah, that looks like the one to pick, and I finally got it right. But anyways, obviously that also carried over for Best Picture nomination, which I was not exactly thinking was an obvious one, but I don't know. Maybe with now it just being a straight 10 rule, okay, maybe that changes things up a little bit with that thinking. Let's see. Then we have what was the other thing I was going to mention here? Otherwise, yeah, for critics groups, yeah. I think Licorice Pizza might have had one or two smaller ones. Power of the Dog, I think, pretty much cleaned up a lot of the other ones as well. But yeah. Anyway, so sometimes we think about stuff like that when it comes to your Best Picture winner here at Critics' Choice. But I don't know. I think they like to go with the front runner. I think they just kind of like that idea because let's see here. I'm going to go because obviously we had La La Land win and that did not carry over. Roma won, that did not carry over. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood won and that did not carry over. That one was on a little bit of momentum. I was picking it at the time. Then we had what was the other one I was thinking? Boyhood. Yeah, Boyhood was definitely a bandwagon one that did not carry through. But yeah, Social Network was another one. That one, like the Boyhood year, that one had the DGA, PGA, SAG kind of turn, where all three of those lined up for the same film. If I remember right, SAG went with oh God, 2010. Let me think. I was going to say The Help, but that was 2011. What did they go with in 2010? It's going to bug me. Okay, I'll look it up later because I do not think it was The King's Speech that won the SAG Ensemble Prize that year. I don't think. I'm going to look it up now, and yeah, it's bugging me enough where I got to look it up. But it did. Wow. Okay, I thought it was something else that year. Okay, but no. Anyways, yeah. So this year, I just think it's Power of the Dog, but obviously CODA, if they're getting a sense of that momentum just after the one SAG Ensemble win, maybe. But I think it's a third place one. I still think West Side Story is a fourth place one. It's one of those contenders where it's like, okay, it might, in a really weird scenario where a lot of these films are just splitting votes just enough, there could be just like that 1 or 2 or 3 vote margin where West Side Story wins. But I'm not looking at that as a very likely scenario. I think it's just kind of that fourth place by default kind of setting there. But yeah. Otherwise, I think that's it. So yeah, I think again, Dune I think is probably going to take the most awards. Power of the Dog is going to be right up there with 3, potentially 4. Yeah. Otherwise. Yeah, I think most everything else is going to be kind of spread out a little bit at least. King Richard was probably going to take a couple. Tammy Faye I have winning a couple. But yeah, otherwise that's about it. Okay, so that's the first one, guys. So I'll go ahead and get this started for uploading. And then we'll come back. We'll talk BAFTA. We'll talk a little bit about DGA and potentially what could happen at PGA. Just a little bit of a preview. Obviously, again, we're going to have a little bit of time after everything this weekend. And we'll get a little, we'll get a different shot. We'll get another chance to look at PGA.